There was a movie, Men in Black. Remember how funny that movie was? Did you ever see that movie?
I did.
Funny movie. But it's really not funny because it's real. As soon as a person becomes a key person, they get met with two men in black with black briefcases, and they get told what they're going to do.
Pretty much true.
And they are put under complete surveillance, and they're going to be blackmailed with something. The gift is they've tried everything and they can't blackmail the president.
The new phase is I'm going to, as I keep getting more information coming in from my friends who are part of the murder machine of any hospital, I'm going to name names, show pictures where I can. These are the nurses, doctors involved in murdering this people, and I'm going to start pushing these people into the public eye, and let's see how they like that battlefield. This is war. It's going to get bloody, and I'm going to get ugly too. No less ugly than any 1776 preacher that dropped his Bible on the lectern, grabbed his muzzle loader or musket, and went out and put balls and bullets inside people and watched blood flow on a battlefield. That's what they had to do. That's in the name of Christ. It's an evil enemy. Any of the minions, including the doctors and nurses who are part of it, knowingly or unknowingly, that's not for me to sort out.
Yep.
But they need to know what's coming next, and that's the only other battle that I can see in my future now coming up after what happened to Kirsten W.
President Trump said that him and Melania took the vaccine. I can't stress enough that he did not, and she did not. I mean, I have a close contact with him. He did not, guys, okay? He's talking about something else. I mean, he's been talking about HCP.
He took a placebo.
Right. Come on, guys. And okay, placebo. And every single person that faked that they got it and the government was a placebo too. They never got the shot. The jab with, mRNA. Come on, they're not that stupid.
The GOP is outwardly embracing QAnon more than ever, with several candidates turning up at a QAnon-sponsored event in Pennsylvania. I'm Yasmin Khan with Rebel HQ, and if I'm being honest, I don't really know what to do with this story, but it felt like something we should talk about. Also, it's the weekend, so let's just close the weekend out with whatever this is. I actually had to stop myself from going down several rabbit holes, though, because I've got things to do today. So there are these QAnon conspiracy theorists, Alan and Francine Fosdick, and they have a program called Up Front in the Prophetic. The show features some really interesting characters, and they say all the things that you would expect to hear from a QAnon program.
It's one letter, but it spells out a bizarre conspiracy theory with President Trump at the center.
My president walked out there, went in front of the church, and held the Holy Bible.
Q, representing someone or something called QAnon.
We will not cower down to evil. We're Americans.
So some noteworthy hits. Francine has it on good authority that Trump never actually got vaccinated. They also said that if Trump did not win the 2020 presidential election, the Democrats would immediately start persecuting Christians. The infrared thermometers that were being used all the time during the pandemic to make sure that nobody had a fever, those were actually mind control devices because they were right here on your pineal gland, also referred to sometimes as your third eye. She said it's the mark of the beast, but it's unclear as to whether the thermometer is putting the mark of the beast on people or if it's just scanning people for the mark. A guest on the show, a pastor, said that the deaths in Joe Biden's family, specifically his wife, his daughter, and his son, were all sacrifices that he made to Satan for the sake of his political career. How does the pastor know this? Because he has contacts with the FBI. But back to Francine, she's also said that Joe Biden has been eliminated, and we're now just seeing some guy in a mask pretend to be Joe Biden, unless that still is Joe Biden and he's just been possessed by demons or something. I don't know. Their line of thinking is sometimes a little hard to follow.
Now, Beau Biden, who passed away supposedly of brain cancer. Now, my two contacts in the FBI said that was a lie. Beau Biden was a sacrifice for the political rise of his father. Just like the first wife of Joe Biden, Nelia Hunter Biden, was a satanic sacrifice going back to 1972 that will give way for the rise of the political career of one Joe Biden.
we went into one place and they were actually taking temperatures. Now, I just heard that that is just another form of mind control, Mark, in regards to what are they hitting? Right here, okay, your mind, the pineal gland or whatever, but this is what they're hitting. And that's like the mark of the beast to me. I mean, that's almost like, let me scan you for the mark of the beast as you come in and shop in here. Biden, he took the shot. So that's another way of saying, okay, he's eliminated as well, because that's not really Biden behind that mask. I mean, some people.
His eyes are black. What the other Biden had blue eyes. What happened?
Right. Yeah, exactly. Unless he's totally possessed, which could be, true, taken over by demons and stuff.
So according to Right Wing Watch, this weekend, there is an event being held in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania called Patriots Arise. Among its speakers and attendants are several GOP candidates, including gubernatorial candidates for Pennsylvania and Maryland, a Pennsylvanian candidate for the U.S. Senate, a candidate for Pennsylvania lieutenant governor, and a state Senate candidate from Maryland. Among its other speakers are QAnon celebrities who have called the LGBTQ community an abomination. They proclaimed that the men in black are real, but they were unable to gain control of Trump. And there's a guy who has openly threatened the safety of healthcare workers. Before I go any further, these stories and the things people say and consume and believe are fun to look at because they're funny, but given the things that this country has been going through lately, it's become less funny and more threatening as these conspiracy theorists and religious zealots continue to infiltrate themselves to every level of government across the nation. One time I did an Instagram reel. This was like way back when all the QAnon stuff was first coming out, and I just did it for fun. This was at the beginning of the pandemic. And I actually got messages from people thanking me for supporting their beliefs and their cause. And I don't know, like I took that as a me thing. Like I wasn't clear in communicating what I was trying to communicate. Or was it just an instance of people just really hearing what they wanted to hear from somebody who obviously, like I think I'm fairly transparent as far as, how I feel about things, but not that time. So anyway, I just took the video down. Now, Francine is hawking silver to sell pillows. QAnon people really have a thing for pillows, and it's something that I am entirely unable to explain. Francine has a friend who had this idea for silver pillows, or rather, the Lord downloaded the idea into her head so that she and Francine, by extension, could, target and corner this silver/pillow market. The general idea is that silver can block electromagnetic exposure from getting onto you. So if you sleep on a pillow, you're protected from electromagnets. I won't get into the science behind it, but you get it. What's always been interesting to me about this whole QAnon movement is how much overlap there is between the more esoteric, spiritual communities and this one. The right has its own brand of psychics who are downloading insights and truths from their spirit guides. It's got tarot readers who are predicting a future where Trump is finally successful in fulfilling his destiny of draining the swamp and protecting the children and restoring Christ-like order to this world. Then there's astrologers who are always looking at his birth chart and assessing not only his future, but the future of his followers and this movement that he is the leader of. And when you look at how many people, Americans specifically, who have left organized religion over the past few years, it seems as though there's like a spiritual void that still needs to be filled in some kind of way. Things like the law of attraction have grown in popularity over the past few years, and I think it just gives people a better sense of control over their lives if they believe that they can manifest their future rather than having it dictated to them. It gives you a sense of having something greater than yourself rooting for you and helping you to succeed, so that even when you feel aimless and weak, you know that you won't be allowed to fail. If you do fail, though, it's just a test, right? It's meant to get you to where you're going. And honestly, I have no way of knowing whether or not that's true, just like I have no way of knowing whether or not any of these religious teachings are true. You'll often hear people in esoteric communities and QAnon communities saying the same things. I remember one time I saw a video and there was this QAnon supporter talking about how her vibration was too high for her to fall to COVID. And yes, there's a ton of overlap between the QAnon community and the health community. The anti-vax stance really seemed to be a bit of a gateway for people who were already into things like holistic healing and Reiki and yoga and veganism to find alignment with QAnon. And this has been a thing that we've seen with several holistic health-related influencers. When you look into the ideas and practices, though, they begin to resemble one another. Is manifesting, for example, through meditation just another way of praying? Is speaking to your spirit guides the same as communing with God? Is celebrating Easter based on a moon cycle akin to paganism? Or is trusting that the universe has your back the same as having faith that an invisible God will be answering your prayers? But unfortunately, grifters are going to grift. While it doesn't seem like these particular QAnoners have a huge audience size doesn't necessarily correlate to influence, which is what we're seeing in the fact that they got several high-level government candidates attending and speaking at their 2-day event. The GOP is making it very difficult for people to leave the fringe on the fringes. So anyway, have a great weekend.